like Attila the Hun. I came here to conquer. Lanes bring the beef, I tell them no donker. They wanna play games, I shock them like Blanca. They still rudimentary, I'm tough like Tonka. And let me get this off my chest. I'm hearing going nowhere, so haters take a rest. Ain't nothing handed, just working hard, sweating. You can take that to the bank. I know I did bet.
Welcome to episode 17 of Eye of the Storm. I, of course, am your host, Tempestt. Please be sure to hit the like button, and if you're new and like the content, be sure to leave a sub and hit the notification bell to know when the next video goes up. It really does help the channel out and helps us get seen more. Also, if you haven't seen the previous episodes, feel free to give those a look as well. As you know, I started a playlist for ease of access. I also do other videos such as my own music, montages, and the like. And with that out of the way, let's get started. So the console apocalypse is upon us. Not only did the PS5 have its overall numbers just purely flipped, it was by far more than expected, with some GameStop stores only getting about as low as 4 to 6 consoles, or I should say about as much. Word has it that across the US, they only received somewhere in the ballpark of 90K or so. That is just for GameStop. The Xbox is kind of off even worse. I know one store only got about 4 consoles to pre-order in total, and the lack of available consoles is pretty disturbing to a lot of people. I personally believe it's some sort of elaborate marketing ploy, but time will tell. Just do yourself a favor. Don't give in and pay an outrageous amount of money just to keep up with the Joneses. We know the scalpers are out there. As far as the Xbox is concerned, well, we'll see what they do with the lack of availability along with the PS5. Also, there was a bit of debacle with getting an Xbox because there were people who were getting Xbox One X's or S's instead of the Series X or S, which, I'm sorry, to me that's actually kind of a bit funny. But, the other thing about Microsoft too is that they bought out Bethesda for about $7.8 billion. That's a big news thing. Microsoft claims current deals with Sony won't be affected, and that exclusivity or multi-console releases will be on a case-by-case situation. So we'll just have to wait and see about what they're going to do in regards to that. Actually, just adding to this, the recording is kind of late, but the PS5 went live again at the beginning of today, Friday. I don't know how it's going to turn out, obviously, because I can't hold off any longer, but that's kind of crazy when you think about it. Who knows what they're going to do or what's available for that. Also, Kirby has a new game that was leaked and it kind of just, released. Kirby Fighters 2 is a platform fighter. Not surprising since Masahiro Sakurai is behind the pink puffball. If you happen to not actually know or recognize the name, it's the director behind the Super Smash Bros. Series. We'll see how this game pans out, but so far the consensus seems to be positive. We have to wait and see. And speaking of patience, I think we'll briefly touch on patience again. This time, I think we can talk about the patient style. Now, this can come in more than one method, but a lot of times patience is associated with zoning. Now, let's go over a couple terms before we continue. 2 things you'll probably hear quite a bit, zoning and rushdown. They're typically associated with styles of play. Rushdown can be pretty self-explanatory. It's often an in-your-face, highly aggressive style of play that most people consider to be exciting and the most fun to see. This usually involves heavily pushing your opponent and taking advantage of moves that put you at an advantage, for forcing your opponent to block and sometimes panic, pressing a button, and then getting caught in a massive combo. That's kind of an oversimplification, but I think you get the drift. Simply put, it's high-speed action that the average person just tends to lean towards when they start playing. It's a press buttons and go style as opposed to zoning, which most people consider to be synonymous with projectiles and sometimes just boring. It's a style that people may often refer to as spamming. But there's a lot more to it than that. It's really controlling space. It can often be done with proper buttons as well, just making use of those normals. But patience tends to be the name of the game when zoning. Again, oversimplification, but I do think you guys can get the idea. I'll definitely go more into detail in a different video. I at least wanted to give you guys a quick breakdown and association before we go over how patience itself actually is a style that applies not just to one, but both rushdown and zoning. Being a patient player is actually a really hard thing to do. and that can go in multiple games. I guess the most patient style that people get annoyed with is camping and shooters. However, a patient person can actually embody different things. It can be a support type if you're in a MOBA or a team-based game. You have to look for the right opportunities to make setups for someone else to get the kill, or even take the opportunity to take it for yourself at times. Being observant and waiting for just the right time, not wasting any resources, and making plays or being the driving force behind said play. In Smite, I play a support type role, so Persephone works extremely well for me. I can go around setting traps, doing damage, drawing attention, and finally, when I see an opportunity, I make a move and usually set up for someone who's more adept at getting the kill than myself. But, if I see an opportunity, I'll take it. I need to be patient and not rush though because of my inexperience. Now, another example would be Super Smash Bros. In particular doubles. Stockholders or even aggressors can be patient. Depending on how your team dynamic is, it can either be the opportunist in the match that just works for both roles. Someone builds the damage, the other gets the KO. Someone draws the attention, the other picks off for setups. It's a game of reads and patience, knowing the board. Then, of course, there's the classic, traditional fighting games. Here's the thing though, it may not always be a stereotypical zoning style. Characters that are grapplers or explosive damage dealers like Akihiko from Persona, Zangief from Street Fighter, Astaroth from Soul Calibur, and so on. These characters have to bide their time for just the right moments to attack. You have games like Melty Blood, which kind of rewards you depending on what you're doing, on offense or defense really. It's due to the highly aggressive nature of the game. You may be stuck defending against someone's aggressive rushdown, and you kind of have to wait for that right moment to mount your counter offense. Trust me, I know, I learned all about blocking in that game. Adversely, if you're the one on the offense, you have to be patient enough to look for the crack in the defenses of your opponent. Lastly and quickly, zoning requires patience because you're slowly chipping away at your opponent instead of doing big flashy combos. You're controlling space, and if they get in, you have to get out and repeat. You may even have a tiny small combo to hit, but it's nothing big. Conversely, you have to be patient when you're fighting a zoner, because if they are adept at controlling space, then you can't just run in blindly or just do things haphazardly. Be patient, then strike when the moment's right. Also, if you constantly wait and play defensive, it is another style called turtling. Justin Wong was actually kind of infamous for implementing this style at one point. We might go over that too later on in a different video. In the end, you want to do what works best for you. But patience is important. That's the kind of lesson of life, really, when you think about it. Remember, it doesn't mean you can't be aggressive when you're being patient. It just means you have to be patient for the proper moments to do what you really want to do. This is just a basic overview, however. Well, that should do it for me. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about the news, as well as how patience applies? What about the rushdown, zoning style, or even turtling? What do you personally prefer? Let me know in the comments below and discuss. You can also reach me on any form of media you know how. We're pushing numbers slowly, and I appreciate it. Remember goals? Well, right now, the ultimate goal is 1K subscribers. However, let's get ourselves to 100 first. I think once we do that, we'll open up a few more doors too. I'll let you know what the next goal is after that. Remember, I take submissions for videos and ideas for the future. And don't forget to check out the Mind Over Mix-Up channel for the introduction video where the crew introduces themselves. I'm working with them over there too, if you forgot. So we're wrapping up. Be sure to leave a sub if you like the video and share with a friend. And more news will be coming soon. Remember, be safe, take care of each other, press buttons, and catch you on the flip side.
You want says, best believe that you'll catch one. Represent my gang, head shaking like I'm Gladiator. Beat the beat ferociously, I'm vicious like the Manhattan. Probably flavor rapper than just rolling like a Don Fin. I'm flame body, everything I do is guaranteed high. Y'all gon' keep this record spinning heavy like a poker stop. I grasp not.